Hey guys, welcome to another Cigar Chat. I'm your host Rob from Robbie Raz Reviews as always. We are live here. We got Logan's down there in the green room as always. How you doing, Logan?
I'm doing very good, Rob. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm going company man today. I got all my company gear on, but we can get into that in a minute. Sorry that we started a little bit late. We've decided that it was Logan's fault.
It was not.
Shocking, right?
Yeah, it was not.
Never my fault. I mean, come on. How can you not trust this face? So what if it's got a little extra flesh? So what?
Very easy.
Anyway, we've got Fred Rui of Nomad Cigars joining us live from an undisclosed location. Hey, Fred, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thanks for coming on. You're in your office? A office?
I am in a office. I am in Esteli, Nicaragua right now, actually.
We are. Yeah, that was. That probably was the reason that we were having technical issues.
I was sweating how this was going to work, and my nightmare came through when all of a sudden I'm like, I can't log on.
Yeah, we had we could see Fred's lovely headshot, but that was it. So we got it all figured out, and it's not Logan's fault. I mean,
yeah.
We blame him for enough stuff. Let's
we'll blame it on Google.
There you go.
Done.
Yeah, they're not infallible. It's true.
No.
So you're joining us live from Esteli. What's going on in Esteli these days?
The weather is beautiful. Actually, I literally just flew in probably about 4 hours ago, and last final trip down here before IPCPR, and everybody's down here scrambling around, getting ready for the event, and any last-minute details they got to take care of. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, anybody that's never been down here, you've got to come down here at least once.
Yeah, it's an eye-opening trip. I mean, it was for me at least to see, just from a human standpoint, you see, because it's a third world country, and I'd never seen anything like that. But I've talked about this before. It blows me away how hard everybody works down there and how happy they are.
Yeah,
and how
I think you have a new appreciation. We all know that a 200 hands touch it before it's a cigar in your hand type thing, but until you come down here and see it, and I think I've said it before, but when I've listened to interviews from people that have been down here a lot, and a long time ago, and everybody's like, oh, how passionate they are and all that stuff, and honestly, I thought it was a bunch of BS. I thought, oh yeah, that's a cool marketing spin, and oh, they're all a family, and you know what? You get down here and they are. They really are. I mean, these people, their hearts are out there. I mean, they're really proud of what they're producing, and the work ethic is phenomenal.
Yeah, that was one thing. We didn't get to see too much hands-on of people. I mean, you're in the rolling room for a few minutes and checking it out, and there's, they're getting after it in there. I mean, it's one of those things. If you're not hitting your quotas and that type of thing, you're not going to be around too long. And then there's that.
Well, and not only them. It's just even just going out to a field.
Sure.
The guy that's out there in the field working, and the way they just baby these plants and the tobacco and everything. Everybody knows that they have a place in that stage, and I was trying to explain to everybody, the whole teamwork concept, and their job is to take care of whatever their function is. They may not be the one finally putting it in the box or something like that, but everybody knows that they're a key part of the entire process, and you can't say that one part is more important than another. I mean, it's easy for us in reviews and everything to say, well, it's got to be rolled right, or the construction's off, or the blending's got to be done just right. But everybody that touches it really does have a place, and it does. We're dealing with Mother Nature here, so everybody's got to be on their game to make a good cigar.
Yeah, true, very true. So we'll get into a little bit more background of Nomad. This is going to be your second release coming up, the Esteli Lot 1386. I want to know why you called it that, but we'll get there. We know we got some weasels watching the show live right now, and everybody knows we're going to have some stuff available. I'll let you guys know when the store is going to be open. Logan wants to talk about the cigar first because he's very excited about it. So let's Fred, give us just a little bit of background on this new blend. Where the ideas came from, what you were trying to accomplish with this one, how it's different from your original release. We'll have Logan go over his views of the cigar, and then we'll open up shop.
Okay, it's a good question. I'm very happy with what Nomad has for the DR, the Dominican Republic stick. I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of the blend. I'm very proud of the construction. And my first trip over to Nicaragua was really a lot of other people in the industry saying, man, you got to get over there. You got to see the tobacco. You got to see the process. But the focus was pretty much the tobacco. So I came over, just really a fact-finding trip. Just really, you know, took a week, came down, decided to, you know, start square one, start the fields and everything, and just kind of absorb everything and figure out what was different than from what I was used to. And I really found it to be just an absolute playground. And I want to preface it by saying I don't want to discount the Dominican sticks in any way. It's a totally different world. And a lot of the questions I'm getting, well, you know, how is this different than your other stick that's currently out there? Well, I'm in a completely different country. You know, I'm dealing with completely different soil. I'm dealing, you know, I mean, everybody says, well, you got Cuban seed, but I'll tell you what, depending on where that thing grows and what the soil is, and what I love about, you know, Esteli, you know, I've gone through, you know, the soil maps and looked at all the other stuff, and there's been so many volcanoes that have fed this soil. And each of those volcanoes is, you know, a different depth from which it's pulling nutrients out of the earth, if you will, and spilling it down a mountainside into what's essentially the Esteli Valley and the rest of Nicaragua. And it was a veritable playground. You know, it was walking into a candy store of tobacco and just not just type, you know, Esteli Ligero versus Jalapa or something like that. It was just dramatically different from you know, fields that are we perceive as relatively close. So it was a fact-finding tour that just went completely awry. You know, I decided to, you know, go in and start at the very beginning and look at the fields, and then go and look at tobacco that was in warehouses that you could purchase and go through that. And, you know, I started with what happened was we had probably 20 minimum bales of Ligero down on the ground, and you open up every single bale and you pull out you know, you look at the leaves and you pull one out and you roll just a piece of straight Ligero. And I was playing with Esteli Ligero is what I was interested in. And in my DR stick actually has some Nicaraguan Ligero in it, just to give it a little bit of a boost. But I came across what was some just really exceptional Ligero, not just color, because I knew it was going to be inside the stick, but just the flavor of it was. And at that moment, I'm like, man, I got to blend off this. So continued to purchased all that, purchased a bunch of other tobaccos, because again, it had to be a learning curve for me. And just started blending, just started having fun with it, and just, you know, what did I like, what didn't I like, and you know, you literally got the whiteboard, or you got a pad of paper, and you're changing percentages, and you're like, okay, well, a little bit more of this, a little less of this, and all before you ever even get to the wrapper stage. So I'm like, wow, I love this. This was several months ago. So I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna put something out there and say, hey, you know, here I am. I've got a blend in Nicaragua now, and that was my first venture into that. And the people that have had it, you know, not just reviewers, but also the colleagues that I gave it to, that I respect their opinion, that have been here for a while. You know, I don't know if it was dumb luck or what, but they're just like, wow, you got a stick way better than we thought you would. Now, I don't know if that was an insult to me or just it ended up being a good stick, but I absorbed the process of it, and you know, I've said from day one, I'm not afraid to admit what I, you know, don't know. And so if I didn't know something, I was asking the people that I knew, you know, they knew the answers. So that's how it started, and so it's a totally different stick than a DR stick. I've got people that are big Nicaraguan fans that are like, wow, I love it, and they won't smoke the DR stick because that's not their thing. And when I created Nomad, the idea is that the concept behind it is that, you know, from a lifestyle standpoint, I've lived in a lot of different places. My wife and I, we love to travel and everything else, and I wanted the cigar brand to reflect that I could go to another country, create another blend of what I thought was a really good cigar from that country. So it's Nomad that, you know, has a DR stick. I'm happy with it. I'll obviously continue to tweak it and maybe have an LE out of there, but it was time for me to go to Nicaragua also.
Very cool. You say, it's funny that you said it was a fact-finding mission that went awry.
Yeah.
And, I conjure up images of Chevy Chase and National Lampoon's going awry, but that's not really what you're talking about here. You ended up with some stuff that you liked.
anybody that's interested, particularly that was coming from where I was, you're used to one country that comes over here. When you stumble across some tobacco or you stumble across a bunch of different tobacco you're not used to, you want to play. And that's really what it was. It's like, man, I've got to play with this stuff and see what happens.
It's like the tobacco fun factory.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I felt like the little kid in the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I'm just like, wow, this is just really cool. So that's how it started. And my plan was always to try and have something by fall. And that's on track, but I came across an opportunity and something I liked, and it all came together, and I thought, time to kind of put the flag in the ground and go, well, I'm here also.
Cool, very cool. So, so as you guys know, Fred, this release is coming. This is IPCPR fall release. Fred's given us access. We have exclusive access. No one else has access to this. Other people have smoked it, but nobody's got it available for you guys. We've got access to 3 boxes, 3 12-count boxes, and 4 6-packs that are going to be available. And let's. I'm going to toss this to Logan because I know he wants to talk about it. Logan, you want to open up? Should we open up the store now while you're talking about it, or should you give your spiel first? What do you think?
Or let them wait. Let them fester on it. Let that credit card get real warmed up so they make other purchases.
I want to hear what the spiel is first before I'm not sold. I don't know if I should buy the stick. So
there you go. Okay, Logan, go.
Hey, it's not that pressure. I'm the foremost expert or anything, but I will say when you mentioned that there's people that are kind of Nicaraguan tobacco lovers, much like myself, that it's not that we didn't like your kind of freshman release in the Nomad, but it just wasn't really my jam. I think that kind of sums me up perfectly, and I really think, I sent everyone the review, and you can really tell if you look at it. I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, other than a few of the construction things that we've talked about, which I know are going to be ironed out before you go into kind of full production. Honestly, between the original and this, for me, it was just completely night and day. You're right. You said, I asked you about it, and you're like, I kind of started with some exceptional Ligero, and I really went from there. So, it's just a good, meaty, very sweet cigar that kind of just runs through with earthiness, leather, and pepper mixed in. Everyone's giving me shit because I smoke cigars way too fast. I smoked a Toro in like 75 minutes. But other than that, I think, like I said, I think you hit the nail on the head. So, there's not much to say. I just think you did a damn good job.
You've, Fred, you got somebody creeping back there. Who's that? Oh, we can't hear you. I think you're muted. There you go.
Am I on now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Say hello.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Gary.
How are you?
Dude, how you doing, man?
Doing well.
Good to see you. Here's sneak peek. First time anywhere.
What is that?
What is that, little bugger?
What are we looking at?
You realize this was my show, right? Yeah. You sold my entire show.
30 seconds of it. Now
That's
I'm
it.
leaving. Have fun, guys.
Good to
What
see
is
you.
that?
Oh,
Yeah,
I have work to do, he says. Okay, yeah.
What was that? What were we just looking at?
We're playing Minecraft here. That actually, when is that coming out, Gary? When will it be released? All right, mid-September. It's the new Miadora that Gary's been blending. He's gonna come back in again. Oh, wait, here's the band.
Oh, very cool.
I'm gonna let that save for a show for when he can tell you the story behind it. So he knew I was in here, so I knew he was going to show up at some point.
Dude, that guy's, he's everywhere.
He is
Everywhere.
Every
And
bathroom
he
in
just
America.
had his 598th birthday the other day. So.
That's awesome.
It says like a Twilight novel. Don't get Logan started on Twilight.
Dude,
Okay.
I fucking love some Twilight, man.
So,
That shit is awesome.
We're kind of stalling here, so let's we're locked on Fred. Logan, let's get the store open so these guys can take a look at the cigar, the pricing.
It's live, fucker.
The price point on this is what is it? $875, I think.
$875.
So we've got We've got 3 boxes.
That's a crazy price. That can't be right. I feel like I'm on a Home Shopping Network all of a sudden.
I was shocked. Yeah, we're not turning into an infomercial. I was shocked at the pricing myself. I'm smoking my second one, and I took some notes on the first one. The second one I'm just smoking during the show. I'm going to review my third one that I've got resting. Fred sent me some samples there. So for me, this is definitely a big step from your Dominican blend, obviously.
Yep.
It's got a lot of the stuff that you expect out of a Nicaraguan cigar. It's got some of that pepper right up front. Like Logan said, it's very sweet. But it's funny how you can talk about something being really peppery but then sweet at the same time. And there's even as I get into the middle, it gets creamy. It's not really creamy at the beginning, and it's not really creamy at the end, but in the middle, it's got kind of a creamy texture to it. There's some earthy notes. Logan mentioned leather. I don't really get much leather out of it, but it's a really nice cigar. The construction on it's great. I'm very intrigued to see what this thing's going to taste like in 6 months to a year. I get that because it tastes good now, but I think in 6 months or a year, it's really going to hit its stride. Lose a little bit of that pepper because I'm not a big pepper guy, even though I do like Nicaraguan tobacco. Pretty much more than anything else, but a little bit of that, just ease that pepper just a little bit, and this is going to be something that's really, really special. So I think you've got a really nice blend going here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the sweetness, one of the things I was trying to think of when I was blending it was coming off the Dominican stick was to introduce some people into Nicaragua, and I didn't want a total spice bomb in the process. So I really like the jalapa because it offsets some of that spice. And you made a very good point. And I actually hate it when people say this, going, oh, it's a great cigar, let it lay down for 6 months. It is. I've had it every week since the beginning, and it has morphed. And I knew when I blended it, based on what I knew, was that the spice would kick down just a little bit. You'd still get the overall strength. You'd still get the overall body. But again, I wasn't trying to create a spice bomb. I don't think it is now. If you start talking spice bomb, that's other stuff that'll just level you. But yeah. I wanted to have something in my mind, and I don't know if I pulled it off or not, but in my mind I was saying, look, you've been smoking Nomads that are DR. Let me take you on a journey. And I've always been upfront as far as what Nomad is, and it's a journey for me. And I've always, hey, I'll tell you the good and bad about having a cigar company and starting it up and being a boutique and everything else. But I wanted to bring those people along with. I knew the Nicaraguan guys, or I shouldn't say I knew. I hope the people that smoke Nicaraguan say, wow, this is a good cigar. And that seems to be the feedback so far. But I wanted to bring the people over that were doing Dominican sticks and go, hey, let me kind of walk you through this. So it is loaded with a lot of jalapa to make sure that that spice doesn't run away. It is loaded with that to kind of get a little bit of those kind of, I don't want to say hay tones you get from DR, but that creaminess, that sweetness to go, okay, it's clearly much stronger than the DR sticks, no question. I would say this is a medium plus for sure. But I wanted to kind of walk people down that path and say, you know what, okay, you just finished that steak dinner. You've been having, the DR sticks and the Nomad DR, but, you get a big meal or you get a big, wine or something with it, and you start to lose, even though the DR stick to me, my DR stick, it's good on a fresh palate because everything, the DR stick for me, the Nomad, it has very subtle changes to it, very, very subtle. And depending on your palate, that can get lost. I wanted a cigar that going, hey, you know what, I just had a steak dinner, I just had a Bordeaux, I still want a cigar, I still want some flavor in there, but I don't want to blow my world away and go, oh my God, there's so much spice, I can't handle it.
Yeah, no, I would agree with everything you said. Adding that the jalapa in there, I've down there on that trip when I was able to go down there and taste some stuff and really kind of taste just the leaves and do, the very minimal controlled blending that I was allowed to do. Even putting blending in quotes there because it's not really blending. But the jalapa stuff it's got such unique, characteristics. It really does provide that sweetness. We've got this posted up on the site, but I'll let you guys know kind of the specs on the cigar here. It's It's a 6x52, so it's a Toro. Ecuadorian Habano 2000 wrapper, Nicaraguan binder. It's got all Nicaraguan fillers, Jalapa and Esteli, and it's got that Esteli Hilero in there. This is an extremely limited production. I mean, you said only 307 boxes, correct?
There are 307 boxes of 12. I have a good amount for me. Of course. That I might, be able to release a couple extra boxes depending on, I mean, it's going to sell out. I mean, I've already had, retailers call me already and kind of have an informal waiting list on some that obviously have been really good with Nomad, but it's going to go away. And I actually, I would love it to be an LE that I could knock out another 307 boxes immediately afterwards. And one of the things I came down here was a check on the tobacco and what was left and everything else. And there's just really not enough for another run. Some of the other guys that I know, they said, well, you can kind of fake it. You can get this and do that, but it wouldn't be the same stick. Yeah. So it is going to be a very limited release. It was my test as to, I was all along playing for the fall. And it was my test. I'm like, wow, this is a great stick. I'm going to put it out. And I'm learning from it. I'm learning what I want to change in it for the release in the fall. Like I said, it's super heavy jalapa, so I'll probably back off a little bit on that. It even has a jalapa binder to it. I'll probably change that to get another tone of flavor to it. But super smokable right now. I'm really, really digging these sticks.
Yeah, I'm keep talking over Logan. I haven't really given him a chance to get a word in edgewise. But
is he still here? Logan, are you still on? Is this?
No, I know. You guys are just going at it, man. I was gonna just say I was gonna drop a funny in, but 307 boxes for those that are knowing. I did the math. That's 3,684 cigars. Just so you know.
Yeah, I mean this thing
that means there's 1,200 cigars for me.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, tell us. I don't know if we talked about it yet because I was dealing with the weasels out in the chat room. But tell us a story about how you arrived at the 307 boxes. Most limited runs are typically what, 500 to 1,000 boxes. 307 is a little bit odd. How did you arrive at that?
There were two reasons. One is I didn't know, even though at the blending stages it seemed like a good stick. I'll admit, if it wasn't, no one would have begrudged me to go, wow, he tried, he put out 307, let's look forward to the fall and see what he can do. So part of it was me just being safe. The other part of it was I could only get so much of the tobacco that I was focused on. What I got out of the Esteli Ligero, that's all I could get. And that really, the tobacco drives the process, and that drove the process of that particular blend. So it's a super small run because that's all I could get out of the tobacco. There wasn't enough to do more. 307, the reason it came to 307 and not 350 or 400 or 500 is that 307 is the approximate square miles of the Esteli Valley. So I was so enamored by the people here. It was, attempt at a tribute or the respect I had coming into this country and not coming in with, and I've seen other new guys do it, they come in with these egos and stuff like that and go, look, I'm on holy ground here, just as I was and the people I worked with in the DR, just as I am here, and I have a lot of respect, and I don't come in here with, I've got generations of blending and generations of this and that. I come in as a student. And I'm learning from, whether it's the guy growing tobacco, the guy sorting it, whatever. I'm learning from all of them as to how it plays out here. So it was just a little bit of that, a little bit of, I think I just finished a Dan Brown novel or something, so I was like trying to throw numbers out there. I don't know. Same thing with the lot number.
Yeah, and you said that's not. And we talked about it. That's from the press release. That's still a secret. So. I know you say, every girl has to keep her secrets, but that's you spill it now?
No, yeah, I can, because you know what? The second I did the press release, somebody posted the press release, and I had said in the press release that, I thought of running a contest or something, somebody could figure out the lot number, and it took probably one of the weasels maybe like 30 seconds, and he posted the answer right on the board, and really, it's the longitude, 13 and 86, or the longitude and latitude of this area. So that's how I had the number.
Neat. I only know the 44th parallel. Isn't that between North Vietnam and South Vietnam?
Yeah, and I could try and do tobacco there. I'm just not sure what that would work out to be. So.
Yeah, it'd be a little different. But No, I mean, so very interesting. And, you know, that's one thing I said in my review is that, you know, from a marketing background, you know, I do marketing at Dell, and I think you do your marketing very well. I think it's a very interesting tribute and very interesting to do it that way, where, you know, there's a lot more than the lot number is more than just the actual lot that it was at. You know what I mean? So I think that's a very, very cool touch and adds a lot to the actual cigar. So,
well, thank you.
Compliments getting just passed off into the ether tonight. I'm just happy-go-lucky. Anyways,
you're in a good mood.
I am. It is so hot in my garage right now. Like, I am sweating my ass off. It is so hot in here.
It is so cool in here. I was wondering how to turn up the heat.
Oh, Jesus.
Turn up the heater. This guy.
104.
Just a little chilly.
104 today.
Wow.
If you wanted to know.
We need to get a Nomad sponsored air conditioning unit in your
my garage. I know, dude. I know. I need to get my smoking room upstairs finished after I ordered my big cabinet humidor the other day.
Yeah, when's that? Nice.
Yeah, the wife's too busy planning babies and shit, so that's going to be on hold. So we'll figure that out.
They're not going in the same room, I hope.
I hope not. I would never let a baby near my cigars, ever.
Prioritize.
Exactly.
So the store is open. Like I said, we've got that limited stuff in there. It's just gonna be available during the show, so it's gonna be available for probably another half hour. So anything that you guys don't buy, I'm sure Logan's gonna buy the rest, and I'll probably pick up a box for myself. So one way or another, we're gonna sell out. So if you're interested, go ahead and make that purchase. I mean, the pricing is pretty reasonable, so especially for the quality of cigar that you're getting. So
that was the other thing. And about pricing, I mean, you know, I'm really trying to keep that level pricing, and you know, as my accountant keeps telling me, you know, contrary to her opinion, I mean, this is supposed to be a profitable business at some point, but in all seriousness, I just really believe in trying to keep them attainable, and it's very difficult to do at the boutique level because you're not dealing with, you know, hundreds of thousands of sticks and all the other stuff. So you know, I could have pushed it up more, but it was just like, you know, why?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's probably what shocked me the most is, I mean, you're buying at a smaller level. Excuse me, comparatively speaking to, you know, your Rocky Patels or your Alec Bradleys or, you know, whomever. So it's got to be, I mean, a total juggling match to be able to get something in, to be able to produce something that you're proud of, that you like, that meets your goals as a blender, and still fall into that price point. I mean, I was pretty shocked. I mean, nowadays
it's hard. You know, the people that we were just talking about this recently. You know, the people that think that there's a lot of good tobacco out there, they're seriously misinformed. There's not a lot of good tobacco out there, and a lot of your big guys have it tied up. But you know, you have two problems on the boutique level. One is getting a hold of it, which you can for a price, but just not a lot of it. And the other side is that what my philosophy was from the very beginning was it was more of a long term. Look, this isn't just a hobby. I want, you know, the tobacco needs to be good, and you know what? If I got to make a lot less money and just barely skim by on some of it until I can build the brand, build the reputation, and show people what I can do, then so be it. So you get some boutique startups that go, man, I got to make, you know, whatever, you know, per stick and stuff like that. I'm not hung up on that. I basically go, look, here's the price I want it at, and then I back into the numbers and see what's left over for me to, you know, keep in the company and do everything else. And unfortunately, that number in doing a cigar company today is a lot less than it would have been, say, you know, 7-8 years ago. But that's the reality of it. And for me to go out and put a stick that would have been more expensive, I think would get lost in the shelves. I've mentioned before that, you know, if you're a consumer right now and you're buying, you know, cigars, man, there's never been a better time to buy quality cigars at a low price point. And by low, I mean, you know, under $12, under $10. You know, there's just a lot of really good sticks out there. So I just felt that I had to be in that price range.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's funny. We're talking about this, and I kind of have my eye on the chat room here. Hardly Clerkin is one of the guys. He comes out to the show all the time, and he just mentioned. He says, when I roll into the shop, I expect to spend $12 to $15 for something like this. And I don't think that. I mean, depending on where you are. I mean, obviously, you know, in California, you're going to be spending more.
Yeah, it depends on the tax. It depends on the tax, but yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're talking about, I mean, a quality cigar, it's, you know, there's especially, I mean, for me, I'm ignoring it a little bit because we're talking, but this will probably be like maybe a 90-minute smoke for me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit less. And Logan puffs like a freaking banshee over there, so he gets through.
Focus, laser focus, dude.
Laser focus, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Well, maybe you know, I don't know if I've put out the pricing sheets yet. Maybe I should make some changes and jack up the price a little bit. So
yeah, we can talk about that. We'll talk offline.
I'm kidding. The price is the price.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. So yeah, we've got, looks like half of the 6-packs are gone. I didn't check the boxes, so I'm not sure. But
I just sold the box.
Okay, so let's. Oh, good.
They're going quick.
Yeah, seriously.
Okay,
so,
now this is definitely like Home Shopping Network.
Yeah, it did
counter
get
at the bottom. We've only got so many left. Yeah,
I felt that happening. I felt that too. So let's get back to. We've had you on the show a couple of times, and we're kind of in a new venue now. We're on Cigar Federation. We've got some new people watching the show. Let's go back and kind of start at the beginning with you. I mean, we got about 25 minutes left in the show. Give us a little bit of background how you kind of got involved in the business. You know, your relationship with Gary, things like that. You know, give somebody a little bit of background.
Okay. You know, I mean, like a lot of boutique guys that start up. I mean, I've been a cigar smoker for a long time. You know, through being a cigar fan, I've met a lot of people in the industry that I respect. That I'm honored now that they've you know, considered me a colleague, which I think is big. But I've learned. I just at some point really wanted to enter into some sort of agreement with myself that, you know, it's like I've always tried to put hobbies out at some point, you know, turn my hobby into a business. And cigars was always on that back burner. I'm like, man, I wonder if I could really do it. I wonder if I could make a go of it. And if I did, what could I bring to the table? What could be different? I wanted to have fun. From day one, I wanted to have fun with it. I really, really wanted to enjoy the process and not get hung up and not be snobby about it and not, you know, and I go, oh, I know more than everybody else. Look, I mean, I'm from Wisconsin. Okay, there's not like, you know, vast tobacco fields and history in there. And my father, you know, he was the guy working in a computer room when it was, you know, the size of a Macy's, you know, type thing. So that wasn't my culture. So it's always been a journey for not only me but everybody that I share with in the process of it. So you know, I played with a blend last year. I was, you know, because the people I knew in the industry, they put me in touch with some good people and just started going. I thought, well, screw it. You know, what's the worst can happen? You know, I'm gonna have, you know, 100,000 to 50,000 sticks of my own. You know, smoke the rest of my life. So I was fortunate. People loved it, and the community was very supportive. I didn't know what I would walk into with various people in the industry, how they would react. You know, would they be pissed off somebody else is trying something new? I mean, I didn't know if they just try and squash you or what the deal would be, but everybody was very encouraging. And I think it's because I was so sincere and not going in going, oh, I know everything, or what, you know, I mean, I know like this much compared to, you know, a lot of these guys out there that have been around a long time. And I think it's because I was sincere about being, you know, that I honored the craft and the people that were behind it. I think that opened up a lot of doors for me, and people were forthcoming with information at that point. I'm just a guy that loves smoking cigars, and I think it's really cool to go out and do one if you can. My deal with Gary was, you know, I launched it, you know, early last year, did a soft launch. I had it online. IPCPR rolled around last year. I decided to pull my entire online sales and just did an open letter to support brick and mortars, because I think that's really where the heart of the industry is. And the challenge I was having was a typical startup challenge. You know, covering ground. I didn't want to be on the road 300 days a year. You know, distribution was a challenge. I was getting a lot of calls. I was getting a lot of, you know, how can I get the sticks, and you know, the production and everything else. So when Gary was talking to me about House of Emilio, I really liked what he was creating, which was, you know, hey, we want to bring in these boutiques, we want to help with the distribution, and more importantly, as far as building a brand of House of Emilio, was to vet the companies that were in there, and they all had to be good sticks. That's a given. You know, there's a lot going on in the market, but you better have at least a good stick for somebody. Now, no one stick takes care of everybody. If you're blending a cigar because you think that you're going to get 80% of the market and stuff like that, it's just not going to happen. So the companies were vetted, and there also has to be a personality behind it that has some sort of passion for the industry. And when I was creating Nomad, I mean, look, it was two-way communication from the very beginning. I tried to go out on Twitter and said, hey, here I am for all that's good and all that's bad. I'm here, and give me the feedback. And I listen to the feedback, and I still talk to people. And there's nobody answering my Twitter. There's nobody answering my emails. I just do it myself. Sometimes it takes me a little longer now, but it's just been an incredible journey. It really has. And it's just getting warmed up. It's just getting warmed up.
Yeah, I mean, this is a sophomore release, and Logan and I both smoked the Dominican release probably a year ago. It's probably been about a year, yeah. I like the Dominican release. My palate changes so much, and maybe not palate, but where I want to be when I'm smoking. And sometimes I want something like this. It's got more kick to it. Which, by the way, this is probably, I would consider this a full-bodied cigar, full strength. I can feel it a little bit. I would definitely smoke it after having, like you said, right after a steak dinner would be pretty nice. But the Dominican, you're filling two totally different demographics really with these two cigars. And like you said, there isn't one that you can blend for everybody. That cigar doesn't exist. I was happy to hear that you're taking Nomad into this direction. I'm curious to see what you're going to do next. I know that this is just, we're talking about this now, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen next, because I know the wheels are turning, and I know you probably got something planned. But I mean, for me, your sophomore release, this is a nice smoke. I'm really enjoying it. And I know I've been talking too much, so I'm going to let Logan talk. And I've got kind of a wasp situation developing over here.
Situation?
Yeah, there was one.
You mean like the bugs or white Anglo-Saxon Protestants?
Protestants.
I'm just curious.
The little flying things. Like I don't like little things that buzz around and bite me. And there was one crawling
most
around.
People do. So yeah.
Yeah, there was one crawling around, and now there's about 7 or 8. So I'm gonna try and see if I can head this off, and I'm gonna let Logan jump in and talk a little bit.
You're just gonna throw me under the bus like that? Okay.
Well, I've been talking too much. I know you want to talk about it, so I'm gonna.
I've just been smoking a cigar because it's good. The cigar shut me up, Fred. That's never happened.
Wow. Can I quote you on that? That is like the best quote ever.
Dude, that's like huge marketing right there. And you can't quote me on it. So what's next for you? I mean, your original line obviously is a core line, something you're still going to produce now and into the future.
Absolutely.
This is it's a limited release, maybe more in the future, we don't know, but it's a limited release. I mean, what's next? More limited releases, or do you think another core line, or what do you think?
I mean, the limited releases will always be an opportunity. I mean, if you stumble on something that truly is limited, I mean, a true limited, you only got so much tobacco. I can only make some money, and that make so many of them, and when they're gone, they're gone. So if I certainly would do another limited if I stumbled on something like what this one did. But the plan now is a full rollout of a Nicaraguan line this fall, and that's what I really been. Once this one was kind of put to bed, so to speak. And again, this one just ended up being that my experimental blend into Nicaragua ended up being enough to pull off an LE and a good enough cigars to put to market. It was really all a learning curve for fall all along. And that's what I'm working on now, is what that fall looks like. And what I've learned, not only blending this one, what I've learned since then, what I want the fall one to be. So it will be a full line. Nomad will have a full line of Nicaraguan in the fall.
Full, okay. Interesting. And will we be seeing that at IPCPR, or is that something you'll be able? No, or is that not even?
It's not done. It's not done. We're still at the stages of blending and everything else. I don't have a timeline, but I should have some news, pretty soon. If not at IPCPR, right after. But I will have some more details as far as where and how and all the other stuff.
Okay. No, very, very cool. Question. Obviously, your company is Nomad Cigars. We have the originals, the Nomad. This is the Nomad SLE 1386. Do you see kind of keeping the name Nomad and then it being lots or different names within that, or something completely different like the Vagabond or
Yeah,
the Roamer or something. I don't know. I was making shit up.
Well, one, I think I'm done with the fun name stuff. As far as directly related to Nomad, I'm not prepared because I'm still building a brand. I'm not prepared to go out with another cigar that's not called Nomad.
Got it.
And I think that the name works as long as my packaging is different. The fall line will have completely different labels. You'll still have the Nomad, you'll still have the name, you'll still probably have the wings, you'll still have that logo for that branding consistency. I want someone to be able to walk into a shop and go, okay, I tried the Nomad, Dominican, man, okay, let me try the Nicaraguan, and vice versa. So I don't foresee, look, I'm not big enough to sit there and say, okay, Nomad's one line and now I'm throwing out another completely different name. I don't think that would work for me marketing-wise until you get to big enough that says, unless you were to put your own name on it and say it was Fred Rui, and that's a dorky name. So I just don't think I'm big enough to just to create other lines with completely different names. And now I got two names I got to try to market, and two names that I got to get out there. And
right.
One's Nomad, the other one's XYZ, and then nobody knows that XYZ came from Nomad. So for right now, I'll probably play with lot numbers or some sort of sub name to it, but I'll keep it all under Nomad for now.
Okay. Well, here's an interesting question. I'm not necessarily related to the name or the branding, but a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers, at least boutique, they play around with tobaccos. But I mean, you definitely a Dominican cigar, and now you have a Nicaraguan cigar. And I know you probably can't answer this. It'd be tough. It's kind of like saying, hey, Logan, would you rather go to Italy or Germany? I mean, they're both great, right? But which one do you prefer?
Italy.
Italy's good. There's pickpockets there.
Yeah.
There's pickpockets. They pick my pocket.
Italy is awesome.
Fucking assholes. Bologna jerks.
Somebody picked your pocket?
They did one of those scan things on my credit card, where they don't pick your pocket like they do like this scan. It'll take your card number off. Motherfuckers. But anyways, American Express. Done. So anyways, what do you like best? I mean, not necessarily the tobaccos or the people, but I mean, what have you liked about, blending a cigar, making a cigar in the Dominican versus Nicaragua? I mean, what were kind of the pros and cons to both? And I mean, if you liked them both, that's great. I'm just curious.
I do like them both. I mean, I've said before, cigar smokers 10 years ago, they bought one box, one size, and that's all they bought. Now the cigar smoker, has 12 different cigars in their humidor, and what are they in the mood for?
Yeah.
They're totally different cigars. I think our palates have evolved as cigar smokers because there's so many great cigars out there. So, the Dominican, to me, from a blending standpoint, and I'm sure I could get people in the DR to argue about it, but I think it's difficult to get anywhere near the strength, for me anyway, as an amateur blender, anywhere near the strength that I can walk into Nicaragua and get pretty easily. There's even Nicaraguan Ligero, like I said, in my DR just to give it a little bit more boost, and that's still a very medium cigar, my DR stick. They're very different. It's like saying, do you want red wine or white wine?
Right.
Well, what are you eating? Is it hot out? Because I might want white wine. Is it cold? Then I might, have a nice cab. So they're very different experiences. So from my standpoint, since I'm still so new at it, they're just different worlds, and I treat them both completely separately. I'm no different than anybody else. When I now I just have a lot more cigars now than I used to. But I mean, what am I in the mood for? And sometimes it's, I want to go the DR stick. Sometimes it's going to be the Nicaraguan. Sometimes it's going to be, other people's sticks that I have in my humidor that I enjoy, or their new sticks right now that I'm really liking. So that's kind of how I kind of play through most of that.
Got it. Okay. No, that's very interesting. So let me ask you, are you going to Honduras next?
You know what? If you'd have asked me last year, I'd have said no. But if I feel, ideally, and who knows how it all plays out, but ideally, I have a DR stick that I'm very happy with, that I know the market's happy with. I don't know how the Nicaraguan's going to play out because there could be 1, 2 blends, could be 3 blends. I don't know where that ends yet. But the model of it allows, because of Nomad and going where it is, if I get to the point on Nicaraguan sticks where I am on the DR stick, then yeah, I'm not opposed to going down there and saying, okay, what do you guys got? What can I blend? And what becomes representational of this country and this tobacco for me to add to the line? right now there's no immediate plans because all my focus is really on where I am in the DR and Nicaragua. And I've got a long way to go, you know, in Nicaragua as far as, you know, till I've played that out, because you can do a bazillion blends here. But yeah, I can see that in the future right now, going, okay, let me jump over here now, and it'd be really cool to have just a certain amount of lines and sizes from each of these locations, and not blow it up to where I've got, you know, 20 different, you know, blends out there, but just something that knows, you know, I want to try this stick or this stick, but it's all under the Nomad umbrella.
Right. No, that's a good point. Well, let me ask you this, and I think you've kind of touched on it. I mean, you said the original Nomad has a little bit of Nicaraguan tobacco in it, a leaf or so. Well, how and this is more of a question for me, is that, I mean, obviously Nicaragua, and you roll your cigar in Nicaragua, there's Nicaraguan tobacco. Same thing as Dominican. How much tobacco in the Dominican is Nicaraguan? Or how much Nicaraguan tobacco is then shipped up? Like, what's the percentage breakout? Because I feel like a lot of cigars are rolled in Nicaragua, so there'd be a huge stockpile of, hell, maybe Cuban tobacco, or, you know, all of this. Like, can you get tobacco for any country anywhere? Or is it, if you're going to Nicaragua, you get Nicaraguan tobacco?
You can get tobacco from anywhere. I mean, you know, you got guys rolling Nicaraguan sticks, you know, in different places. You got DR sticks in different places, and even though they say it's Nicaraguan, you may have more of this or less of that. So, but the ready availability, you're going to get more Dominican tobacco if you're you're in Dominican Republic. You're going to get more Nicaraguan tobacco if you're there. But, you know, as blending goes, you start going, you know what? I just need this flavor. I just need this subtle nuance, and there's very little Nicaraguan Ligero in my DR one, but it needed an extra layer in there to do it, so it wasn't a completely mild stick. And the one thing that I haven't got away from yet, and I don't know if I will in the fall, I'm open to it, this Ali still stuck with the Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, because it's a wrapper that I love. It's one that, you know, I haven't matured enough to go, you know, this blend's now got this completely different wrapper, and that's what I'm hoping to do at some point. But again, the tobacco drives the process, so I tried this one, the LE, with different wrappers, and because either that's in my wheelhouse or because what I like, it ended up getting the Habano 2000 wrapper.
Got it. Makes sense. Now, Rob, you've been too quiet. It's your turn.
Oh no!
How the wasps doing over there, Rob?
They're all dead. I got them all. It was weird.
Oh, great! Now
I'm calling PETA, dude.
PETA's going to be all over us.
Yeah, that's all. I'll defend myself on that one. Yeah, there were like 7 or 8 of them just kind of crawling around, and I went over to step on them, and they didn't try to get away. So I'm safe. Thank you for checking on my. On my. They
must have got some secondhand Ligero there that kind of eased them down, mellowed them out.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I've got a boxer, and he tends to gravitate towards things that are going to cause him to take, or going to cause me to take him to the vet. I mean, he likes to eat bees, and boxers are notoriously allergic, so he'll eat a bee, and then his face. I mean, he's already got the big jowls, right? But then it's like 3 times the size. It's not good. So I just had to nip that one in the butt, but we're good now. So from what I wanted to get back to a little bit when you were talking about how you went down there and it was kind of like fact finding. You wanted to, you know, experience some of the Nicaraguan stuff firsthand. You know, like you said, you just pull stuff out of bales, you roll it up, and you smoke it right there. And that really gives you. I mean, for me, I've done it, and you taste it, and it's like, yeah, I don't really know what that means. You know, I'm tasting certain things, but what is that actually going to mean when I combine it with this, that, and the other thing? And so you had that kind of that moment where you smoked something, this Ligero, that you knew you had to blend with it. What was it about that particular leaf that jumped out at you that said, okay, I have to use this?
Well, initially, when I went through it, I mean, the color and the consistency got me. But in smoking it, when I first smoked it, I'm like, okay, that's really good. And then I went through a lot of the other bales, and I kept going back to those other ones. It just had an incredible flavor, but wasn't the spice bomb that some of the other ones were. And it almost had its own little bit of sweetness, just this hint of a little bit of sweetness to it. So that's why I'm like, man, I got to do something with this. And I knew right out of the gate it wasn't enough to be the fall line. I knew it wasn't enough tobacco, but I thought, you know, it's all a learning process. And then you go back, you buy that, you take all the other stuff, and you got a big table that's got, you know, a dozen or more different, tobaccos sitting out there, and then you just start going, okay, well, what would it be like this? And then, like I said, you start changing the percentages. Initially, I thought, that was going to be a half a leaf. I thought that of that tobacco, I was going to have a half a leaf of that Ligero in the cigar. And I blended it with that. Like, so we just had, lots and lots of cigars out there. And it wasn't overpowering yet at the half leaf. So then I'm like, all right, let's try it with the full leaf. And then I'm like, wow, I really like the full leaf, but I'm not going for a total in your face. So now I got to make sure I complement that and offset that with something else to kind of keep it in the range that I was going for, which is why I ended up with so much jalapa in it.
Yeah, that process is, and again, I'll preface this as I was in such a controlled environment the few times I've been able to do this, but the process to me, it just seems like it would be so overwhelming to go down there like you did, like you said, fact-finding mission. You want to try a bunch of different things and see what's going to work. I mean, you have an end goal, you have an idea of what you want to produce. I mean, where to start, I mean, you get that thought of the kid in the candy store, and so you've got all this different stuff that you can play with, all this different stuff that you can try.
It is overwhelming, and I guess somebody probably said at some point, you start at the beginning. And when Logan asked me, I guess it was last week, I started with that Ligero. And then I built from there, and I started blending some stuff, and I didn't like it. I'm like, wow, now I'm losing it. And then it's mixed and match. I imagine that's how the people at Ben & Jerry's, that invent ice cream must just have a field day.
Oh, dude, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's a good way to get fat.
Who cares?
Who cares, man? That'd be worth it.
So from the day that you go down there, you find this magical Ligero leaf that you want to work with. We can use romantic words, right? So you're from that point when you decide, okay, well, we've got a half leaf, now we're going to a full leaf. How long did that process for you take for this particular cigar? I mean, you're going from, you find this leaf, you really want to work with it, to the lot 1386 that we're smoking right now. How long does a process like that take?
It should have taken longer. Honestly, I mean, it was dumb luck. Gary was down there with me at the time, so and a couple other people were here that had really sophisticated palates. It was just a dumb luck. The fall production is turning into more work than this one did. I think the hassle to me was they said it was just friggin' beginner's luck. Because it was really, we did a lot of them, but it was the fourth blending attempt that was the winner. There were a lot more afterwards that just reaffirmed that the fourth one really was the best. But I could sit there and make up some crap of how I studied each of them and figured out all this stuff and try to be real pretentious. And the bottom line is, I was just damn lucky. It's just I had an idea based on what I thought, and I just got lucky that it worked out as fast as it did.
Yeah,
that's the honest thing.
No,
it's not glamorous. It's not like I said, oh, I was studying all this and figured this out and had 17,000 blends. It was just when for someone like me in a small boutique to have access to that quality tobacco, it made the process a lot easier. And I'm not as sophisticated as guys that are down here that they probably wouldn't have been happy with my blend. They would have been pushing and pushing and pushing and probably would have even had a better stick at the end of the day because they're more evolved than I am. But the people that were smoking it, that I respect their opinions, were like, wow, this is it. You've got it right here. And some of them were just pissed off at me, and I had to buy the round of drinks that night. It was beginner's luck. Like I said, I'd like to make up a cool, science story behind it, but it was dumb luck, and I learned from it, and I'm continuing to learn from it.
So from the first, I appreciate your honesty, first of all. I mean, like you said, it would be easy to make it sound a little more scientific, but I mean, sometimes you find something that works, it just works. Oh, and I had a question and I lost it. Damn it. No, okay. So this is your third or fourth trip down to Nicaragua working on these blends. Is that?
Yeah.
Do you notice from the first time that you've done this to now, you kind of there's steps that you're getting to the point where your palate's reaching the level that you can bypass certain things? I mean, there's some stuff that you just know isn't going to work. I mean, that all comes with time. But.
I mean, yeah, but very little. I mean, to be honest, it's still a, and will continue to be a learning process of, here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to think that I know something. And so I'm still too new to sit there and say, oh yeah, skip that, I know it won't work. Especially if I've got a guy that's a blender or a roller or somebody saying, hey, try this, and I'm not going to sit there and discount that, because you know what? These guys have so much more history down here, so much better pedigrees. No, I mean, I'm not there yet. I mean, I have stuff that I think it won't work, and then I'll try it and go, nah, it's just not what I'm going for. It may work for somebody else, but it's not what I'm going for. So no, I mean, you know, look, when I walk into that room and there's tobacco laying over, it's leave the ego at the door. And just go through each of the steps and go, okay, it works, doesn't work, and sometimes you blend something going, you know, I had one recently, and the guy's like, oh, you got to do this, and I'm like, there's no friggin' way that's going to taste right, and you know, bringing in tobaccos that I'm not familiar with, well, I'm not familiar with them, and it turns out the person was right. Whether it ends up in the blend or not, I don't know, but it was right for what they were talking about. So no, I'm still learning, and I am a long way from being able to say, oh yeah, that'll never work.
So the rule of thumb, if you guys want to take something from this, as far as, you know, if you want to start blending your own stuff, is to check the ego at the door. That's good advice, I would think, and listen to the advice that's given to you. Sometimes, I mean, those are just good rules for life, but sometimes that's hard to do.
Yeah, I think you have.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, it's hard to do something like that, especially when it's your company, it's your reputation, your name's on there, it's your money. You know, it's tough to sometimes take advice that, like you said, maybe you think it's not going to work, and maybe sometimes it does turn out that it does.
I mean, I think you have a vision of what you want. I mean, the one thing is, most cigar smokers out there, and certainly anybody listening to the chat stuff tonight, you know, we know what we like and we know what we don't like. And I'll try a cigar and I'll go, well, it's not mine. But then I'll usually try it again, because, you know, if a lot of people like it, maybe my palate wasn't good that day, maybe it was just something off. And I've had a couple of those that I'm like, nah, I don't know. But then I'll go back to them like, no, it is a good stick. So I think, like, you know, like I said, you know, you check the ego at the door, and then, but you have to have a vision of what you're trying to accomplish. And it's why I really like reviewers that when they review a cigar, they review it for what that cigar was going for, not what it's not. So if you have a milder stick and someone only likes strong sticks, you don't trash it because it's a mild stick because you don't like mild sticks. You review it for what did that boutique, or what did that blender, or what did that manufacturer, what were they going for in that stick, and did it accomplish it?
Yeah, no, it's sometimes that's hard to do. I mean, I mean, what do I know compared to? I'm not an expert, but sometimes I'm smoking a cigar and I think, man, if this was just a little bit sweeter, it would be so much better. For my preferences, but at least
there's nothing wrong with that. That's why we smoke some cigars we smoke and don't smoke other ones.
Yeah, and that's like, and you had mentioned it before. I mean, we're kind of from a consumer standpoint, we're pretty lucky right now that there's so much out there. Like you mentioned earlier that there might not be that much great tobacco out there that's easy for you guys to get your hands on, but there's a ton of great stuff out there for us to smoke. So we're pretty lucky.
Yeah. Well, I'm the same way. Look, I may have my own company now, and I may be blending my own cigars, but I still buy cigars just like everybody else does.
Yeah. So what else? You brought it up. What else are you smoking now?
Oh, that's a great question.
Although I imagine it's tough because you're in the blending process, but
it is. But there's some sticks that I'd like. Shout out Sam Lucia. I love seeing him back in the game. I like both his sticks, the black and the white. I'm still hooked and still have AJ Fernandez Oval in my humidor. I love that stick. I think it's a phenomenal stick. You know, so there's guys out there. I like what Jonathan does. You know, he's not afraid to push it out there, and he's certainly not making one stick for everybody.
That's true.
I try to emulate in whatever small scale I can is the guys that I know that are just out there and to some extent reinventing it. There's not just one way to make a cigar. There's just not one blend. It's like, have fun with it. Have fun with it and get a cigar and go, man, I really like this. San Lucia's black is different. It's a different stick. and it's not for everybody, but it's like, man, it's cool to see somebody having some fun with it and going, man, you know. And he's the one that told me when we were talking. He said when he, you know, when he stumbled on the tobacco, he's like, look, if you find tobacco like this, you just have to play with it. And that might have been in my back of my mind a little bit, you know, when I think about how when I found that Ligero that I did for this LE, it's like, man, I found this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know how many cigars I'm going to make. I may only have enough cigars to, you know, of the tobacco to make just for me, but you have to play with it.
Yeah, that's yeah, that sounds like fun. That sounds like a lot of fun. Logan, you got we're kind of up against it as far as time is concerned. You got any more questions from the audience? We haven't taken really any audience questions.
Well, I just got one. What kind of booze do you like to pair with the new Esteli Lot 1386?
Oh, you know what? It's a great question, and ask me again in a month, because I have to be honest, I've been so on top of that stick, and it just, you know, it just finished out before I've been smoking them. I don't know if I've probably a single malt, but that's because a lot of times I'll drink. But I don't have a pairing for that one. Ask me in a month, because honestly, usually now up until now when I've been smoking them, I've had nothing. I've had water or soda water or something. I mean, it's been so pure palate the entire time that I don't know that I've had really been pairing with it. And normally I would. Normally I would have something like that. Just when you're in the blending phase, or and now I've been kind of blending into the fall phase, I've had less alcohol than I ever have. Not that I'm a big drinker anyway, but I've had less alcohol because I've wanted nothing to taint what I'm trying to in the blending process.
Yeah, I could. I'll jump in on that. I mean, just from this is the second one I've smoked. I like to pair just about everything with rum. I'm on kind of a rum kick.
Actually, I have been since I started coming down here, and I would agree with that. If I was to do anything, matter of fact, when I get off the call and we go out, I think I'll probably get some Florida Caña rum and give that a shot. I
would go with the 12. With this one, the Florida Caña 12, I think would be. I don't have any at home. I have some of the 18. And I don't know if the 18 would be right, but I think the 12 is a little bit sweeter.
Well, I got spoiled. My first trip down here, somebody broke out, what is it, the 25 or something like that?
I've never even seen that.
I think it was greater than 18, but it was ridiculously good. But everybody keeps telling me to go back to the 12, so I'm going to try the 12 tonight with the stick. Yeah, that's where I would go, or I would try it with a sweeter bourbon. I don't know, for me when I'm smoking a stick that's got a lot of pepper in it. And this doesn't have a ton, but right up front it had a lot of pepper for me. I always try to temper that with something that I'm drinking that's got some sweetness that can cut that. Yeah.
I don't know.
Sweet tea.
Well, yeah. See, people say that, and do you pair with sweet tea, Logan? I've never done
that's all I smoke with.
The good water stuff in the 44-ounce jug there.
No, man, yeah. It's the Red Diamond, bro, in the jugs.
Yeah.
$1.87 at Walmart in my Round Rock Express travel mug.
Did you notice how his accent changed the second Walmart and the jug came?
I know, it did. I got my southern accent out.
Wow.
Or the wind, baby.
That's funny. That is funny. No, I've never. I don't really pair much with tea. Really, I mean, like an unsweetened iced tea, I think pairs with a lot of different things. But
I don't drink iced tea, so I would have no way to weigh in on that.
Yeah, like a nice, just like a basic, like the Lipton thing you put in the bag and you put it in the jar and you put it in the sun for a few hours.
Sun tea.
Yeah, it's something like that. I don't know if that would pair well with this at all, but
I drink a lot of hot tea. Spent all that time in India. I'll drink some Darjeeling, some Assams.
Yeah,
some
it's good for you.
Earl Grey. I'll fucking rage on that shit. It's good.
Raging on Earl Grey. That's
dude, that's all you could do in India, man. You got to make that water hot, bro. You're gonna get sick. You got to, man.
Oh man.
Got to, bro.
So we're kind of coming up to the end. Fred, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy down there, so we do appreciate it. We appreciate the access to this exclusive access that you're giving us to this release.
Absolutely.
I haven't looked at the numbers. I don't know if we're sold out or not, but I imagine I imagine our allotment will be gone one way or another. I know Logan's probably going to buy some. He mentioned that, so and I'll probably pick up some for myself because I do want to check this one out in October, November. I think it would be kind of on a nice fall evening. This is me getting romantic again, but to get back to the booze question, that's what I would pair it with. I mean, I'm no expert with pairing. I just, that's what pops into my head from smoking it. But so, is there anything, Logan or Fred, that we didn't cover? We haven't taken many questions. I know.
I'm good. I mean, I appreciate, I mean, just thanks to everybody for being supportive. Thanks to everybody for the feedback. And I know that you have a lot of choices out there when you walk to a shop or you're buying cigars. And I really appreciate the support. And I appreciate the feedback everybody's given to me. And I look forward to, kind of lighting up a stick with those people that are smoking them.
Yeah. No, we again, we appreciate you coming out. You're going to be at IPCPR, correct?
Absolutely.
Good. It'll be good to meet you in person.
Be there.
I'll be hiding behind Logan, but it'll be that's.
I'll be behind you.
No, that's. Oh, here we go.
There's Gary creeping back in again.
He's everywhere. You're everywhere, Gary.
Yeah, he just comes out of nowhere. He doesn't speak. It's kind of creepy.
If he sees me coming, he tries to lock the door, so I've got to sneak in.
Ninja style. I love it. So we're going to look forward to new stuff from Gary too. So thank you for sharing. What was that one called again?
That's Mia Dora. He's got some cool stuff coming out, but that's got to be another show.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. But no, that was.
Absolutely.
You want to say anything more we're talking about?
It's top secret for now until I decide to talk to you.
Top secret.
I
All
already
right.
told him everything.
Oh, okay.
No.
Well.
All right, guys. Well, again, we do appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to join us. Logan, thanks for being in the green room again.
I'm there.
We're gonna work on getting you some sort of. We got to get your room finished so you can be somewhere where we can see that pretty face.
Yeah.
Did it just get weird?
Maybe not so much.
Yeah, it got creepy.
It got weird. So yeah, again, thanks for all the support for the show, guys. We appreciate you coming out every week. Logan, next week, what are we doing?
Tuesday, July 2nd, we have back-to-back shows.
Oh,
we have
yeah.
Miami Cigar, and then followed by Ezra Zion.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Nice.
Those
Those will both be fun.
Yeah, that's gonna be 2 hours of.
That's going to be a lot of shit.
It's probably gonna be closer to 3 hours, I would imagine.
Get them to talk about that tantrum coming out, man. That is a firecracker of a stick. I got those in my humidor, and man, those are good.
It's they were nice enough to share a few with me as well. I'm excited, and they've got the Eminence there as well. But we'll talk about all that next week. So again, 2 shows next week. We're starting at the
6.
same time, right?
6 to 7, and then I guarantee Ezra Zion will go from like 7 to like midnight probably.
No, but Barry, if you remember, Barry can talk.
He's a chatter. He's a chatterbox.
So it'll be, and they've got some new stuff coming out too. So lots of exciting stuff, guys. We again appreciate all the support. If you're going to pick up those Nomads, you're running out of time. I think we'll keep it open for a little bit longer. And Fred will look for you at IPCPR, and we're going to look for your fall release. We'll have you come back on and give us a little bit of insight on that one as well.
I look forward to it.
All right, enjoy the rest of your trip and travel safe, and we'll see you soon.
All right, see you.
See you guys later.
Fred. Thanks, guys. All right, it's Thursday, so have a good weekend.
Adios.